among cats. Because my interviews and
I'm through. Hey, what's somebody else to give me an interview? Tell me your you never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Visiting with our friend and colleague and seeing him around the fight game for years to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next inductee was born in New York City borough of Bronx on February 11, 1931, to a Ukrainian immigrant. A standout high school football player in Brooklyn, he went on to play at the University of Oklahoma. After graduating, he was interested in entering professional sports broadcasting. Drafted into the Army during the Korean War, he became a sports writer for the military's Stars and Stripes, for whom he covered his first fights. That led to jobs initially in Wilmington, North Carolina, Philadelphia, and ultimately New York, where he became a columnist for the Post. His life took yet another change in direction when he burst into the national scene and entered all of our living rooms as HBO's expert on boxing and Wimbledon. Fearless and never one to shy away from controversy, he graced us with his insights and his opinions for 35 years at HBO. He covered some of the greatest fighters in history: Sugar Ray Robinson, Willie Pep, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Pernell Whitaker, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, and the list goes on and on and on. But of course, the bout for which he will always be remembered came in the aftermath of Floyd Mayweather's win. In 1985, he received the Sam Tao Award for Boxing Broadcast Journalism, presented by the Boxing Writers Association of America. In October 2002, he was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame. In 2009, inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And today, we are proud to induct him into the West Coast Boxing Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest television boxing analyst of all time, Larry Merchant. And once again, to present, please welcome Alan Swire.
Thank you, Jim. Before I start, I want to point out two guys over here who had an idea about how doing the West Coast Boxing Hall of Fame, and we had a sweet little luncheon at Vitello's. I think we've grown up. Thank you, guys. There's a saying about celebrities: be careful, don't meet your heroes because you may be disappointed. This is somebody who proves that that's not true. When I was growing up, Larry Merchant was a god in New York City. Everybody wanted to get the New York Post, which was not then a Murdoch publication, to read Larry Merchant's take on sports and on the world. I never knew at that point that I'd get to know him, let alone become a friend and a neighbor. When I decided to make my film about boxing, El Boxeo, I needed entree into that world. The first person I called was Larry. Every door imaginable opened up. Anybody I wanted to meet, Larry went to bat for me, and the result is on screen and includes quite a few of the people here, I'm proud to say. Larry, the single best quote in that movie to me, and we had great people. We had Ray Leonard, we had Oscar, we had all sorts of people, but the single best quote owes to Larry Merchant, who said, "Ringside is the best place in the world to study human nature," which is any boxing fan will tell you that's true. I am really proud to call Larry Merchant a friend, somebody I looked up to as a kid and still look up to today, and the guy who proves that Floyd Mayweather did not retire undefeated.
thank you, Alan. Thank you for this honor. Some of you may be wondering why I'm wearing this scarf. I thought maybe it would distract from the couple marks at my head, which some of you have noticed. Fortunately, this room is pretty dark. This came from an accident in my house where I spilled a lot of blood, the Red Sea, as they call it, but everything worked out okay. And I guess I was absorbing what some fighters have seen, looking into the mirror after the fight. You should see the other guy. Which reminds me of an old story. You know you're over the hill when your mind makes a promise your body can't fill. My version of that is when you hit your 90s, the 90s hit back. You know, my most famous interview for me was after the Buster Douglas upset from Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas was emotionally wrought up after the fight. His mother had died a few weeks before. He had never gotten along really well with his father, who was a pretty good fighter and had a gym in Columbus, Ohio. And he couldn't speak. I was trying to interview him, but I had the presence at that moment of just standing there and letting his wordless interview play for the camera and the television. It told a better story than I could and that he wanted to tell. So there are all sorts of ways to bow to these extraordinary athletes. Some people might imagine that the Floyd Mayweather moment was the apex of my career. I'll happily accept those two men who got their hands. Going back a little farther, when I was 7 years old, my father asked me at dinner if I wanted to stay up late for the fight. Of course I did. Joe Louis was fighting for more than a heavyweight championship. He was fighting for the dignity and greatness of America, which had been slowly but persistently threatened by Adolf Hitler. Now, we brought our radio into the living room, and in the first round, Joe Louis destroyed Max Schmeling. In hindsight, that was a moment when a prize fighter became the greatest black hero in American history up to that point. an old man who's over the hill when his mind makes a promise his body can't fill. Thank you for your applause and your